strove to get his hands from behind his back and hold them up in supplication. He offered money, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 pounds to be set free. He would give back the Why Not? He would leave Moonfleet. And all the while the sweat ran down his furrowed face, and at last his voice was choked with sobs, for he was crying for his life in craven fear. He might have spoken to a deaf man for all he moved his judge, and Elsevier's answer was to cock the pistol and prime the powder in the pan. Then I stuck my fingers in my ears and shut my eyes, that I might neither see nor hear what followed, but in a second changed my mind and opened them again, for I had made a great resolve to stop this matter, come what might. Maskew was making a dreadful sound between a moan and strangled cry. It almost seemed as if he thought that there were others by him beside Elzevir and me, and was shouting to them for help. The sun had risen, and his first rays blazed on a window far away in the west on top of Portland Island. And then there was a tinkle in the inside of the lanthorn, and the pin fell. Elzevir looked full at Maskew and raised his pistol, but before he had time to take aim, I dashed upon him like a wild cat, springing on his right arm and crying to him to stop. It was an unequal struggle, a lad, though full-grown and lusty, against one of the powerfullest of men. But indignation nerved my arms, and his were weak, because he doubted of his right. So it was with some effort that he shook me off, and in the struggle the pistol was fired into the air. Then I let go of him and stumbled for a moment, tired with that bout, but pleased withal, because I saw what peace even so short a respite had brought to Maskew. For at the pistol-shot 'twas as if a mask of horror had fallen from his face, and left him with his old countenance again. And then I saw he turned his eyes towards the cliff-top, and thought that he was looking up in thankfulness to heaven. But now a new thing happened, for before the echoes of that pistol-shot had died on the keen morning air, I thought I heard a noise of distant shouting, and looked about to see whence it could come. Elzevir looked round too, but Maskew, forgetting to upbraid me for making him miss his aim, still kept his face turned up towards the cliff. Then the voices came nearer, and there was a mingled sound as of men shouting to one another and gathering in from different places. 'Twas from the cliff-top that the voices came, and thither Elzevir and I looked up, and there too Maskew kept his eyes fixed. And in a moment there were a score of men stood on the cliff's edge high above our heads. The sky behind them was pink, flushed with the keenest light of the young day, and they stood out against it sharp cut and black as the silhouette of my mother that used to hang up by the parlour chimney. They were soldiers, and I knew the tall mitre-caps of the 13th, and saw the shafts of light from the sunrise came flashing round their bodies and glance off the barrels of their matchlocks. I knew it all now. It was the posse who had lain in ambush. Elzevir saw it too, and then all shouted at once. "Yield at the King's command! You are our prisoners!" calls the voice of one of those black silhouettes far up on the cliff-top. "We are lost," cries Elzevir. "It is the posse. But if we die, this traitor shall go before us." And he makes towards Maskew to brain him with the pistol. "Shoot! Shoot, in the devil's name!" screams Maskew, "or I am a dead man!" Then there came a flash of fire along the black line of silhouettes, with a crackle like a near peal of thunder, and a fut-fut-fut of bullets in the turf, and before Elzevir could get at him, Maskew had fallen over on the sward with a groan, and with a little red hole in the middle of his forehead. "Run for the cliff-side," cried Elzevir to me. "Get close in, and they cannot touch thee." And he made for the chalk wall. But I had fallen on my knees like a bullock felled by a pole-axe, and had a scorching pain in my left foot. Elzevir looked back. "What? Have they hit thee too?" he said, and ran and picked me up like a child. And then there is another flash and fut-fut in the turf, but the shots find no billet this time, and we are lying close against the cliff, panting but safe. End of chapter 9. Recording by Simon Evers.